Right now, the temperature outside is dropping. You're indoors, heating on, blanket nearby, maybe a warm drink in your hand. You're fine. Now imagine all of that disappears. No heating, no blanket, no jacket, no walls. Just you, standing outside in the middle of winter, wearing almost nothing. How long would you last? Before we begin, if you enjoy learning how our ancestors survived the impossible, consider subscribing. Every week, we uncover forgotten stories that explain why humans are the way we are. Now, let's go back thousands of years. Studies suggest the average modern human would show signs of hypothermia within 30 minutes in freezing conditions. Without shelter, death could follow within hours. Yet ancient humans survived entire winters, for thousands of years, across frozen landscapes that would kill most of us before breakfast. So what did they actually know that we've forgotten? When most people picture ancient humans in winter, they imagine something like this: a half-naked caveman shivering next to a small fire, barely surviving, miserable, lucky to make it to spring. That image is wrong. Ancient humans weren't victims of winter. They were prepared for it, months in advance. And the preparation started long before the first snowflake fell. Here's something most people never think about. Ancient humans spent their summers thinking about winter. While food was abundant, they weren't just eating. They were storing, smoking meat over fires to preserve it for months, drying berries, collecting nuts, stockpiling everything that wouldn't last once temperatures dropped. Autumn was even more intense. Hunting increased dramatically, not because they were hungry now, because they knew hunger was coming. Every animal killed in autumn meant food through the coldest months. Every hide collected meant clothing. Every bone saved meant tools. Winter didn't catch ancient humans by surprise. They saw it coming every single year. Now let's talk about what they actually wore. The title of this video asks how they survived without clothes. But that's actually slightly misleading. They had clothes, just not the kind we'd recognize. The oldest known needle, used for sewing, dates back roughly 50,000 years, found in Siberia, made from bird bone, thin enough to thread sinew through. 50,000 years ago, someone was sitting somewhere stitching clothing together, piece by piece. What were they making? Animal hides, carefully scraped, softened, and shaped into tunics, cloaks, boots, and mittens. But here's what made ancient clothing remarkable. It wasn't just thrown together, it was engineered. Archaeologists studying remains from extremely cold regions found evidence of layered clothing systems, an inner layer worn with the fur facing inward to trap body heat, an outer layer worn with fur facing outward to repel wind and moisture. The same basic principle used in modern outdoor gear. Developed 30,000 years ago, but clothing alone wasn't enough. The real reason ancient humans survived winter has one word: fire. Not just for warmth. Fire was their entire winter survival system. It cooked food, which meant calories that generated internal body heat. It dried wet clothing, which meant the difference between staying warm and freezing. It hardened wooden tools, which meant better hunting even in difficult conditions. It kept predators away, because winter made predators desperate and dangerous. And perhaps most importantly, fire brought people together. Because surviving winter alone was nearly impossible, people assume ancient humans lived in caves. Some did, but caves were actually rare and competed for. Most ancient humans built shelters, and some of those shelters were extraordinary. In Ukraine, archaeologists discovered the remains of shelters built almost entirely from mammoth bones. The structure at Mezherik, roughly 15,000 years old, used over 150 mammoth bones as its framework. Think about what that means. Someone planned that structure, gathered those bones over time, assembled them deliberately, then covered the frame with mammoth hides to create an insulated, wine-proof dwelling. This wasn't desperate survival, this was engineering. Here's the part most people never consider. Ancient human bodies were not the same as ours. Thousands of years of exposure to cold changed things at a biological level. Studies on modern populations that still live in extreme cold, certain Siberian and Arctic communities, show measurable differences in metabolism. Their bodies generate more heat naturally. They burn calories differently in cold conditions. Ancient humans living through ice ages would have had even stronger adaptations. They weren't just mentally prepared for winter. Their bodies were physically built for it in ways ours simply aren't anymore. Here's what's strange about all of this. We think of ancient humans as primitive, but everything they did to survive winter required advanced planning, sophisticated knowledge, social cooperation, and genuine engineering skill. The mammoth-bone shelter, the layered clothing system, the summer food storage, the fire management, none of that happened by accident. None of it was instinct. It was learned, practiced, passed down, improved over generations. Meanwhile, most modern humans couldn't start a fire without a lighter, couldn't preserve food without a refrigerator, and couldn't build shelter without pre-cut materials. Who's actually more prepared? Every winter you've ever experienced, every cold morning, every frost-covered car, every moment you turned the heating up, you were experiencing something your ancestors faced with almost nothing. And they didn't just survive it. They raised families through it, built communities through it, created art through it. The cave paintings at Chauvet, some of the most remarkable artwork in human history, were made during one of the coldest periods our species ever experienced. They were freezing, and they were painting, because surviving winter was never just about staying warm. If you enjoyed this journey into our past, consider subscribing. Every week, we uncover another forgotten story that explains why humans are the way we are. It was about staying human,